Hello everybody, today we're going to solve a radical equation. We have square root of x equal to square root of 2x minus 1. Now to solve this radical equation, I need to square both sides of the equation. Now why do we do that? Why do we square both sides? Because I have square roots. The index is 2, so I raise both sides of the equation by power of 2. Now, what happens here? Square root of x squared, the square cancels the square root. What comes out is the x in here, in the radicand. Now, what happens here, this is going to be different. We have the square of a binomial. So I have the formula here ready for you. So square root of 2x would be your a minus 1, and 1 would be your b. So you take the square of this, right? The square of a minus 2 times a is the first term, square root of 2x, times b is your second term, which is 1, plus b squared, b is 1, so it's 1 squared. Now simplifying this, we get x here equal to, the square cancels the square root, 2x comes out. And here negative 2 times 1, that's negative 2, square root of 2x, plus 1 squared, that's 1. Now I still have a radical in the equation, so I need to isolate this. So I need to take these two to the other side of the equation. So subtracting 2x on both sides, x minus 2x, that will give me negative x, equal to negative 2 square root of 2x plus 1. Now subtracting 1 on both sides, you're going to end up with negative x minus 1 equal to negative 2 square root of 2x. This cancels. Now if you notice, I have negative everywhere here. So if I multiply both sides by negative 1, what do I get? I get x plus 1 equal to 2 square root of 2x. So you flip all the signs. You can multiply, let me write it down, multiply by negative 1 on both sides of the equation. You either multiply by negative 1 or you divide by negative 1. Either one would work. Now I need to isolate the radical in order to square both sides again. So you divide by 2 on both sides, and this cancels. You may want to write this on the left side, so let's go ahead and do this. You'll be left the square root of 2x equals 2. You can leave it like this, x plus 1 over 2, or you may want to write 1/2 times x plus 1. Either one would do, so I'm going to write it like this. Now to solve for x, I need to square both sides. Again, why we square both sides? Because I have square roots. The square cancels the square root. So let's go ahead, square both sides of the equation. Now, the square cancels the square root. What comes out is the radicand. That becomes 2x equals, so I have 1/2 square. So if you want to do them separately, we can do that, times x plus 1 squared. Now, here you have 2x equal 1/2 squared, that's 1/4. And I have to expand this. So what do you have here? And this is the same as a plus b squared. That's a squared plus 2ab plus b squared. So in my example here, I have x plus 1 squared. So this one would be your a and this one would be your b. So a squared would be x squared plus 2 times a times b, which is 1, plus b squared, which is 1 squared. You can, if also you want, you can do this if you like as well. and then you just do FOIL. In either case, you're going to get the same answer. You're going to get x squared plus 2x plus 1. So this is what you would get, and this is what we're going to be writing it here. So 1/4 times x squared plus 2x plus 1. So now we do not have radicals anymore. So now we're going to solve this equation. If you notice, we have a quadratic equation. Why do we have a quadratic equation? Because the highest power is x squared. If I were to distribute, I'm going to get 1/4 x squared. So we have quadratic equation. We need to take everything on one side. So you have 1/4. You can, if you want, to distribute the 1/4, but you'll notice that we're going to end up with a fraction. There is an easier way of dealing with this. If we were to multiply both sides by 4, then this 4 going to cancel with this 4, and I'll get rid of the fraction. So what do we have left? We have 4 times 2x, that will be 8x equals 2. 1 times this in parentheses. So it's just whatever you have in the parentheses. This is just 1. So x squared plus 2x plus 1. So again, we have a quadratic equation, and we have to take everything on one side. So we subtract 8x on both sides. This would cancel, and this side would be 0 equal to x squared. 2x minus 8x is minus 6x plus 1. So you can solve this quadratic equation any way you want. You can, if you want, try to factor, but if you notice, I don't think this is factorable. The product of two numbers is 1, but the middle term is 6. There's no way you can get that. You cannot factor it. This is not factorable. So what do you do when you have a quadratic equation that doesn't factor? What you do is you try to use quadratic formula. Now a is a coefficient of x squared, so in this case it's 1. B is a coefficient of x, in this case is -6. And C is a coefficient, is a constant, which is 1. Okay? So we're gonna try to finish this using the quadratic formula. So what is the quadratic formula? Let's go ahead and write it here. X is equal -b plus or minus square root of b squared minus 4ac over 2a. All right? So how do we just plug in b, a, and c. So -b, that's -b -6 plus or minus square root of b squared, that's -6 squared, minus 4a is 1, c is 1, over 2 times a, 2 times 1. Okay, so that will give us negative times the negative, that's +6, plus or minus square root of -6 squared, that's 36, minus 4 over 2 times 1, which is 2. And that is why you cannot factor it. You couldn't factor this one out because 36 minus 4 gives you 32, and 32 does not come out of the radical. Okay, so let's go ahead and solve this. So let's write this here. X is equal 6 plus or minus square root of 36 minus 4 is 32 divided by 2. So this would be your answer, but you cannot leave it like this. You need to simplify it. 32 is 16 times 2, isn't it? So that will be divided by 2. Square root of 16. So this is the same as 6 plus or minus square root of 16 times square root of 2 over 2. Square root of 16 is 4, so you have 6 plus or minus 4 square root of 2 over 2. So we simplified the radical, but we're still not done yet. If you notice, 6 and 4 are divisible by 2. So you can do two things. You can factor the 2 from the numerators. So let's go ahead and do that. X would be equal 2. If we factor 2 from the 6, we'd be left with 3, plus or minus, factor 2 from 4, you'd be left with 2, square root of 2 over the denominator, which is 2. So the 2 and the 2 cancel, and what do you have left? X is equal 3 plus or minus 2 square root of 2. You could have, if you wanted to, done this. 6 divided by 2 is 3, 4 divided by 2 is 2, although I don't usually recommend that, because normally when they divide, when students divide the first by the denominator, they forget to divide the second one by the denominator. So make sure you do that. So that's why we couldn't factor it. The answer has a radical in there. Okay, so the solutions, we have two solutions. X is equal to 3 plus or minus 2 square root of 2. One of the solutions, you can write it like this if you like, or you can write them, you can separate the answers. 3 plus 2 square root of 2, and X is equal to 3 minus 2 square root of 2. So these are, you can write it like them, like this, or like this. I hope you find this video helpful. Have a good day, everybody. Bye-bye.